All right, we back. In the middle, I usually don't do that. With all the success and the growth of Vlad TV, how come you still do interviews? Because I know you have a staff.
Yeah. I mean, I am still the biggest, talent and the biggest draw on Vlad TV. Like, shout out to Sean Prez, people like Sean Prez, people like Cavario, people like Coach PR, people like Renell, you know what I'm saying, Edie, there's lots of other interviewers that do work, Saigon and Havoc have a show on there and so forth.
How do you feel about that show?
I like the show.
I like it.
I like the show. I think it needs to develop still.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I just think Havoc needs to talk more.
Havoc needs to talk more. Yes. Yes. Or he needs to be doing something. Or he needs to be doing something.
Something, right? Like making a beat on the side with some.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like, so at the end, he presents the beat.
Something's gotta be happening. Something's gotta be happening.
If he was making the beat,
right? And at the end of the interview, he's like, "All right, I'm done."
Yeah. Plus, me and Saigon go back like 20 years before, during my mixtape days. Wow. You know what I'm saying? I knew him when I first moved to New York. But I am still, like, people still, for whatever reason, people still want to hear my voice in interviews. You know what I'm saying? People like the other interviews, but they get a little disappointed when it's not my voice. So when the traffic starts to dip a little bit, I got to step in and get things popping again. And certain guests, like me and Boosie have to be Vlad and Boosie. Me, Vlad and Tony Yayo, Vlad and TK Kirkland. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are certain combinations that are explosive, that work real big, and at the end of the day, I still have a passion for it.
Yeah.
So I would like to not have to do the regular guests all the time and so forth, but that drives a lot of traffic. But I am still very excited to do Smokey Robinson, Teddy Riley, Be Real from Cypress Hill. Like the people that I really was listening to before I ever got into the industry.
Right.
So there is still like a strong desire to really sit there and talk to that person. Like, I just did Robert Kiyosaki, who did Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh, man.
A book that I read. I did Neil deGrasse Tyson yesterday. You know what I'm saying? People who I admire, who I would love to just pick their brain and really see how they answer certain questions and learn certain things from them. And the fact that we could do it on camera and leave it for generations to come, and it turns into a monetary thing and so forth. Like, I'm always going to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Right. But certain things are done just to keep the business rolling, to make sure my employees still have work to do and so forth.
You had any big artists you had to turn down?
We have an R. Kelly interview that we're not going to put out.
Well, I don't. What?
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, I interviewed R. Kelly in prison, a week ago over the phone.
Why are you not going to put it on?
Because the interview that I wanted to do was not what he wanted to do. He wanted to lay out this conspiracy theory and bring in people and name certain people who I don't even want to associate with and that type of thing. And he wants to push that whole kind of situation. And for me, it's like, I just don't want to be part of that. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, he's implicating people in the conspiracy of bringing him down.
Yes.
And he's not taking any. He's not saying I'm guilty of any of this shit.
Well, he didn't get into all that, but he was trying to say that part of the reason why he's in jail is because these people worked against him and this, that, and the third. We didn't talk about any music. We didn't talk about any of his hits. We didn't talk about nothing. We just talked about that. Because you only get 15 minutes.
Right.
On the jail phone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like...
Unless you tapped in.
Yeah, right, which I don't think he is. You know what I'm saying? And like, so we did this 15 minutes, and I was dealing with someone that was close to him that set it all up, and I'm just like, this is just not the interview that I want. You know what I'm saying? So I told him I'm not going to put it out. I'd mentioned that I have it. You know what I'm saying? I think me and D.L. Hughley talked about it in our show, and we're talking about it again. But I'm not going to put out that interview. Wow. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
it's crazy.
But it really is R. Kelly.
Was there anything in it that you felt like?
I mean, there's some stuff about his health in the beginning that was, like he's having like blood clots, and he was talking about how he had a cast on his leg and they wouldn't remove it, and he had to like use like a stick to like break the cast himself to remove it. And they finally removed it. They gave him some blood thinners and and so forth. So like he had some like a health scare. in there, but it was like, since I'm not putting out the other part, I didn't want to just put out this part, and it was just, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, was he in good spirits, or was it like a
No, I mean,
from the rip?
Yeah, he sounds like he's, fucked up in prison, which is understandable. I mean, you go from
It's kind of what
the
happens.
very
in prison.
height to now being in a dirty cell with a bunch of men, like
Pause.
potentially forever. You know what I mean? Potentially forever, because what did he get, like 40 years or some insane amount?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. And, ultimately,
Did you get a chance to talk about the 15-minute record that he put out?
no. Like he there was an agenda that he wanted to do from this interview. He had all his notes
He
laid
probably
out.
didn't want to talk about music at all.
No. There was like, okay, this is what happened, blah, blah. This person was involved, and this person was involved, and this is what they did to me, and this is how they turned against me. And I was like,
any of it like, this could be true?
well, all of it could be true, but it's really not my job to put myself in the middle of all this. You see what I'm saying?
Right, because
I can't really verify any of it, and he's naming specific people and so forth, and it's like, now I'm gonna have to be potentially liable for the people he's naming, and
might
I
flag
don't
your
like
page.
some of these people like that he's naming, and you know what I'm saying, I don't have good relationships with them anyway, so it's like, I'm cool. Just this is not the R. Kelly interview I wanted. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just like,
How did you want it to go?
like a life story. Like, yo, how did you start doing music? Let's talk about your hit records. How did this come together? How did that come together? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like we were offered.
His mindset ain't there right now.
Yeah.
No, he's. I can understand why. Like we were offered a Kanye interview, and the idea behind that interview, my plan was to say, I don't want to talk about the religious shit. I don't want to talk about the conspiracy shit. I want to talk about your music, what you're going to be remembered for. That was going to be the plan, but they canceled the interview like right before it happened. There was a bunch of interviews. He was supposed to do like No Jumper as well, and he canceled like all the interviews like that week. So it's like, and at the end of the day, like for example, like, some female employees also kind of had a problem, with this, the R. Kelly thing potentially coming out, because at the end of the day, it's like, I believe that he did it. Right? Like we all saw that tape that circulated back in the early 2000s. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, was there some conspiracy? Possibly, but does that negate the reality of what happened?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, was he really messing with underage girls? Yes, I think he was.
Right.
I think he was messing with Aaliyah when she was 15.
Right.
I think he impregnated Aaliyah.
Right.
I think he had. The girl in the video, I think that was an underage girl. Like, I mean, like years later after the news came out. So it's just like, do I want to help to free someone like this? No, I don't.
Right.
I don't. So yeah, that's some examples.
And what I'm about to say is in no way a defense to all that. But I guess some of these laws like wouldn't work retroactively, because if you look in the history of like a lot of artists.
Oh, like Jerry Lee Lewis and
Yeah.
Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Another one. Like these.
Something, the Elvis Presley story, and this is not in defense of Elvis Presley, but there's always the story that like he got with his wife when she was 15. They met when she was 15, but he actually got married when she was 21. Yes. So there's that. People try to equate the two.
Was he smashing in between the time? That's the whole question.
That's the
You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
I don't know.
Marriage
You
to
know
what
what
matters. But I was gonna say there's a dude that advertised with us that just came home from jail with R. Kelly.
Okay.
He was locked up with him in the feds, and he's going on different platforms like telling the story that R. Kelly wants him to tell out here. I got a long conversation with this dude. He's like, yo, I need to come to Mav show, this, that, and the third. And I'm like,
yeah,
bro, I don't.
What's the story that's being said?
It's just it's him like pitting certain industry figures.
Yeah.
Like who?
And I'm not gonna say their names, bro.
All right, tell me I'll say it.
Yeah, I'll tell you after.
Text me
10,
right
bro.
now so I can show
It's certain because we have relationships with these people.
He's
so
targeting
it's like,
your enemy.
But he's targeting.
my enemy. I got enemies? Who
someone that you don't like.
Yeah.
And he mentioned them earlier.
Well, we
This
getting
is-
specific
you know,
now.
yeah, and what he's
I
trying to
didn't
do
say
is he's making a basis.
Everyone's like-
He's
I
making
didn't
a
say
basis saying that his case was illegal. He's not fighting it on the thing that he's innocent. He's fighting it on the stance that they illegally searched and obtained stuff to convict him.
Yeah.
And that is what he's standing on and trying to get out. He's trying to say,
Right.
that,
Well,
all right, what he did was wrong, but if you're going to convict him by the law, the same law he's saying that you convict him by, is you got to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Well, it's so tough when these type of subjects come up because I'm realizing, guilty or not, there's been so many cases of, you know, just I want to say this without offending anybody, which is like the hardest shit in the world. Like you think about what Jonathan Majors is going through, right?
Yeah. It's crazy. More women have come forward now that are cooperating
But this is what
with
I'm
the
saying.
police.
But this is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
crazy.
pylon.
All of a
it's a
sudden.
pylon.
Pylon.
Is it a play for the bag?
Possibly.
I don't think all of that is true though. Like,
Me neither.
How they be doing that?
I don't think so too, because
It's
when
like
you
even-
look, when you
even
think
with
about
Bill
the,
Cosby.
when you think
Bill
about the,
Cosby,
that's different. That's different.
Son, they locked
From
up Bill
Jonathan
Cosby.
Majors, yo. He called the cops on the
using
girl, though.
40-year-old pussy. This shit don't make no sense.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that?
It got appealed though, successfully, and thrown out.
Right. However,
Statute of
He did that.
limitation
However,
was over, right?
He did the
he
3
got
years.
locked up for that. Like, there's no, like, there isn't like any type of protection at all. It's like someone can wake up in the morning and be like, okay, I'm gonna go meet this guy. I'm gonna pretend like I'm a nice girl. If he brings me back to the house, I'm gonna bug the fuck out, and then I'm gonna call the cops, and I'm gonna put a story on it.
Right.
Seen
And
it
there's
happen with
nothing
Tupac.
that you can do about it.
They gotta follow.
Seen it
the
happen with
protocol.
Tupac. Same thing happened with Tupac.
Mike Tyson.
I interviewed Tupac's rape accuser. It's not
Yeah.
it's not cut and dry. It's not cut and
I
dry.
watched
And the
that.
story she told, Tupac's co-defendant essentially confirmed. He said there's a few small details that are different, but essentially this is what happened.
Did he
Okay?
confirm because he took a plea?
No. He took a plea. He went to jail. But this was
so
years ago.
Again.
No,
Like,
but what
No,
happened?
hold on. Let me tell the
He's
story.
about to. Yeah.
watched
So
it, I know.
this is basically what happened. He met a girl. They hit it off. They were fucking around on the dance floor. They hung out for a couple days. They were fucking for a couple of days. She came over to see him. He basically was like, my homies are here. They want to fuck you. He walked out and let the homies fuck. And she wasn't cool with that. You take that into a 2023 lens.
in the afterthought?
do you mean the
Vlad,
afterthought?
she said more than that though. I mean, we gonna say
Yeah.
she said that they was on top in the room making out.
Yes.
She said the homeboys walked in the room.
Correct.
She said he held her in a way she could not move back, and told her, you know, like this.
These
was
are the
gonna
homies
be-
we
yeah,
all-
this is
we- yeah,
gonna
we
be
all- we all
something.
share.
That's what she said.
You know what I'm saying?
So
that was devastation.
And
That's
in that
rape or
situation,
rape.
if you look
I'm not
at
saying
it,
it happened, but
so
that's what she said.
it's not cut and dry. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
bring
it's a
a
little
girl
convoluted.
over, you know, and the homies all fuck her, and she's not clearly cool with that. You're gonna have a big problem on your hands. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're
And she
gonna
said
have
the
a-
same thing in court.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why he went to prison. Now he was on appeal, and he could have potentially came back and beat it, but like. A girl come over, bro, that's your responsibility. You can't just sit there and share her like she's a piece of property. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
that's-
but some girls are like that.
Right.
Now, I've met girls that have fucked the whole crew. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
And, you know,
They make
listen.
songs about it.
Yeah, they make songs.
They
and some
don't make
girls are
songs about it
totally
'cause it
cool
doesn't
with that.
exist. Like
Some girls are totally cool with it. Some girls you can pay to be cool with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like in one way or another. But not every girl is cool with it. And in her situation, she was just frozen, not knowing what to do. There's all these men, and they're big, and you know what I mean, like intimidating
their
and so
belts.
forth. Like she was like, I'm just here to see Tupac. I'm not here to fuck everyone else. And that was the story. It's like it's not very cut and dry. I don't know about the Tyson case. You know, I mean, that was just the two of them. So that's very different. But
What
this
was
is,
Tupac's side of that story?
Yeah.
I mean, was sort of what she told. Was like, you know, I mean, she came over and she was down to, you know, he
was
felt
down with it.
He felt that she was down with it. She said she was saying that she's not down with it. Now, here's the problem. Now, hold on. Here's the problem that happened. Hold on. And I remember I talked to Man, who was his co-defendant, his road manager, you know, his road manager, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He left the room and went out to the couch and just went to sleep. And she woke up, but she was like, she's going crazy. Yo, you let them rape me, rah, 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 rah.
Come on, she woke up.
No, he woke up.
No, he woke up. Pac
He
woke
went
up.
out in the
out.
living room because, you know, it's a suite. He
Right.
went out in the living room and went to sleep.
Right. Okay.
And then only to be awoken by her screaming. Losing her mind, saying, these motherfuckers raped me, blah, blah.
So hold on. Wait.
Hold on.
Because there's a little space in between
Yes.
that.
Okay, and
I'm not
And
saying something. No,
clearly
understand that
something
some women
something sexual
don't have the courage, and it's an uncomfortable situation, and you don't know. I would hate to think of any of my daughters being in a situation like that.
Right.
But I would wish that they would fight with all their might
Right.
in that situation. With all their might.
Right.
Because once that happens to someone, it's damaging.
Yes.
And I've seen it happen to people close to me.
Yeah, me too.
So
Me too.
that little space
Yeah.
in between her screaming afterwards
Yeah.
and when it actually was initiated, where is it?
She said she was frozen and she didn't know what to do. She was you know what I'm saying? Now hold on. Let me just say this. That's her side of the story.
That's her side of the story. Right.
And Pac is not here to tell his side of the story, and the other dudes that were in the room aren't telling their side of the story either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Haitian Jack, I believe, was there. You know, I mean, I don't know if Haitian Jack joined into that, but he was there. Here is the point where things could have gone completely different, right? One of the things I learned early in my dating career, my dating life, that is, you never let a woman leave mad, right? Does everyone here agree? No matter what happens, she's acting, she's in the fault, you're whatever, you try to calm the situation down. You don't want this woman to leave your residence mad. You apologize for whatever the fuck you should apologize for. And hold on.
And you can't do that in all situations.
Well, hold on.
Because then that's you taking accountability for something that they could be conjuring up.
Right, but here's what happened.
You become a hostage.
She's screaming in the hotel living room. These dudes raped me, blah blah. How can you let this happen to me? What did Tupac do? Get this bitch out of here. Those were his exact words. Get this bitch out of here. I asked Man on the phone, I said, if at that moment Pac would have said, hold on, are you okay? Yo, let's hold on, let's go talk. Come on, let me calm you down. I said, if Pac had taken a different approach, would none of this have happened? And Pac's co-defendant said, absolutely. Had he taken but he's a young 20-something-year-old man, and he's used to fucking with groupies and this, that, and the third.
In his mind, he didn't do it.
In his mind, he didn't do it, and he like, he's being woken up, get this bitch out of here. And he got dudes around that got that bitch out of there. And she went downstairs and called the police.
She said he did it first, though.
What's that?
She said when he pulled down the neck on your interview, she said that he screwed her first.
Yeah.
Well, they had been doing that.
Yeah, they'd been fucking, yeah.
But it was still different on the interview. On his interview, she said when they walked in the room, she told him she didn't want to do this. And they stood there, and she said, Pac, I don't want to do this. And she said he held her in the position, in the move, and he screwed her first. And after he screwed her, he got up and walked out the room.
And
And then
that's
they
where
came
the
in
discrepancy.
That's some of the discrepancy.
That's where the discrepancy.
So
comes
but
she had
ultimately-
sex in front of the
That's
other guys.
what, yeah,
No,
she
no,
was
that's
telling him
that's
that
her
she
side.
didn't want them standing there.
Right. Pac
But
didn't say it like
ultimately,
that.
man, listen. That for all the men that are listening to this, you're responsible for whatever female has come to see you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
From the moment she walks in to the moment she walks out
Absolutely.
that door, do whatever you got to do to make sure that she don't walk out that room upset and in a rage.
Absolutely.
Because this is what's happening to Jonathan Majors right now, right? They got into a fight. He kicks her out. Whatever. She calls 911. She calls the police.
He called the police.
But she
He called the
cooperated.
police.
She cooperated. You see what I'm saying?
But this is what I'm saying. So what do you do in a situation where this person has planned, this is what I'm going to do?
You become fucked. You become assed out.
Especially if it was consensual.
No,
It could be
if
consensual,
it's a plan.
Right.
but then a week later, when you're not returning the phone calls, it might become something else. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
And
That's
that
scary.
happens
It is.
on countless occasions.
Bro, I don't even know how to
Countless
date now.
Welcome to being a man.
Like,
Well, welcome to being a man that has a certain
Shit's
amount of
scary
fame, a
out
certain
here,
amount
man.
of money. Like you know, broke dudes ain't going through this. You know what I mean? This is just part of it. You have to protect yourself. You got to protect yourself against men. You got to protect yourself against women. You got to protect yourself against fans. Like, you know, you can't run up on Busta Rhymes and ask for a photo. His security will stop you.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why? Because he's scared of getting wrapped up in some old bullshit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not because he's an
Somebody
asshole.
said-
It's because he's
Yeah.
he's been through some shit before, and he
Or
got
somebody will come up
Yeah.
to you and then say some shit like, "Yo, you a bitch ass nigga."
Yeah.
And then when they put hands on them,
Then-
and I got it.
Right.
I got the bag.
So
I
his
got the
thing is,
bag.
let's just stay separate. Like, yo, I don't know you. You stay over there. I'll stay over here, and we can all go about our lives.
This shit is tough, bro.
It is tough.
Why are
Shit
you
is tough.
acting like that? Woman, have you looked at my wife? Like,
Yeah.
reason to act like
Yeah,
that.
I got chicks hitting me up now, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You might be crazy.
Yup.
Or it might be a chick trying to line you with you know what I mean, niggas that don't like you.
Nah,
Yep.
nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that.
I don't know.
Nobody's doing that. But
I don't know.
But for them in particular,
Why risk it?
I'm leery because I don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
As you should. Be.
Like I go out on a date with a chick. If she have more than 2 drinks, I'm counting them. And I'm like, that's too much.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever happened tonight, she might not remember that she was down with the whole, I can't do this.
Yeah. I mean, listen, flying a
And
girl out.
bro, that shit really affects my mind where it's like, I have to think like this now. Like,
No, listen. In 2023,
Hell yeah.
That shit is
flying
crazy.
flying a girl out could be considered trafficking.
That's crazy.
Right?
To think about that.
Think about it.
Stay local, fellas.
Get married. It's simple. Find you a wife.
they'll do it to you too.
If you found the wrong
They'll
one.
do it to you
if
too,
you
bro.
found the wrong one.
Listen, man.
Let
listen.
God guide
Yeah.
you.
No, but
Yeah,
but
find your
ultimately,
wife.
I mean,
Get
listen,
a wife.
like, but ultimately,
And while you out working, yeah, dap them on that. Because while you out working, Jose that cut the grass is gonna be up in
That's
your
not
crib,
your wife.
and then she's gonna
Yeah.
figure
Not
out a
your
way
wife.
to fuck you.
That's
So
not your wife.
Jose
She's
can run
that's
some
not
more
your wife.
she's for the streets.
That's not
Yeah.
your wife. That's not your wife.
That's
Yo,
not
bro,
your
what did we say
Bro.
earlier? If everybody can have her, it's worthless. It's you. If he can have her, he can have her. If he can
Exactly.
have her, he can keep her. If you can pull my girl, you can keep her.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Look, I was
If you
so-
can pull my girl, you can keep her.
I
I never
was
knew
so
her. Whoever
shocked.
it was that I thought I had ain't that. So
I was-
you can have it.
I was so shocked when Bow Wow sat in that chair and said he'd rather date regular chicks. I'm like, that's scary. At this point, I have to go find a celebrity who has something to lose. I have to.
Yeah, well, Bow Wow's also made girls sign NDA forms. I've interviewed him about this.
That's another thing.
That's another thing, yeah.
I need them NDA. Chess.
NDA forms.
I need-
Or
I need
you know,
NDAs.
and I remember
NDAs,
in his apartment, girls would have to leave their cell phones like in a basket. You know, as they walk
Heard
in.
that one too.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that
Do what the
people
soccer
do.
player did. Transfer all your funds to your mother's name.
Right.
No problem. They can't sue you for nothing. They can't get anything from you. Transfer all your stuff to your mom's name.
I don't know about that.
This chick is divorcing him right now, and find out he
He
doesn't
said, I
have
don't know about that.
anything because all of his assets. You didn't see this?
But that's another thing. Like, okay, you meet a woman, you introduce her to a lifestyle. Now she's upgraded. However, it doesn't change the mental traumas that she might have that start to play out in your relationship.
Yeah.
Eventually, you get to the point you can't deal with it anymore. Now you're taking that lifestyle away from her.
Tiger Woods going through this right now.
Do you think that she's not going to fight tooth and nail,
To not go back to that one bedroom apartment.
or at least to bring you back down to it?
Sure. Yeah. Happens all the time.
It's scary, bro.
It's been scary. This is none of this.
This has been going on since the dawn of time. The internet didn't change none of this. You know, today's money didn't change all this. You know, women have always been, you know, from Helen of Troy. Like women have always been the weakness of men and the downfall of men and so forth. Everyone has to be careful, and you have to figure out who you have in your
I don't
circle.
want to date guys. That's not my thing. I don't want to date guys.
Yeah,
I still love women.
and there's lots
Do
of.
you understand what I'm saying?
I feel that
It's not a
most-
pause. You
Right,
understand?
right. But
you
listen,
understand, bro?
Out of all,
I still love women.
I have easily dated hundreds of women during the. You know, I'm 40.
Any guys? You dated any guys?
No guys.
Humble
Just
brag.
women. No trans. No trans. No guys. I'm
No
strictly
Filipinos?
heterosexual,
All right, cool.
and I'm
Here
pro.
comes-
You know,
here come all the trans. Talk about
no,
Vlad's lying.
not doing the
Here they go.
trans. Nah, none of that. You know, hundreds of women, and I would say that the vast, like 99% of them were all decent people. You know, you have the oddballs, and you have the people that are fucked up and have the trauma, and I've definitely dealt with that. I've had women chase my car and all types of crazy
So it's safe to
shit.
say you was a whore. Hundreds?
Hey, listen, you know, well, I took dating seriously. I'm like, if I want to find the right person, I have to
Get out there. And
get
see
out
what's
there
yeah.
and
Right.
meet a lot of people. I'm
Right.
not just going to expect God to send me that person. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I dated a lot and saw a lot of women, you know. Sometimes it'd be just one
Did it
day.
feel like they
Sometimes
always
it-
the same?
No. Everyone is unique, man. Everyone's unique, but the majority of them are decent people, and I've treated them decently, and I never let anyone walk out mad. And you know what I'm saying? Like,
So you never been in any type of situation where women walked out mad on you?
no.
You fixed
I would
it.
apologize for whatever is happening and take the blame for it before that would happen.
You ever had a woman blame you for some shit you didn't do?
I think all guys went through
That's
that.
a different situation.
Blame me for some shit I didn't do.
I think all men went through that.
I mean, not really. You know what I mean? But like,
You're
know,
the reason I don't talk to you no more.
I mean, relationships.
Buyer's
You know,
remorse.
not every relationship is meant to last.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some relationships last a day. Some relationship lasts. I mean, I've been in relationships that lasted 18 years.
But someone
You know what I'm
doesn't have
saying?
to
Like,
be the villain when it ends.
no.
Which is, I think is a
Well,
good.
neither person should be the villain.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Because neither person is ultimately at fault. You know, I mean, it's a combination
that's
of.
not-
It should be a mutual.
That's not
Listen,
how the,
I
that's
know
not how
it's
the
not
stories.
working.
That's not how the stories are spun these days. Like not even these days, but period. 9 times out of 10, somebody has to be the bad guy to justify why this isn't working.
Of course.
I'm on your side. I don't believe not the women I've dated outside of 2. Ain't no bad guys. You just weren't for me. I wasn't for you. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's really not that crazy. You're not a bad person because you weren't.
Yeah,
They'll-
we just don't.
but
you know.
but when you step to your homegirls, one of the first questions they'll ask you is, "What did you do?
Right.
What did you do? Oh, we broke up. What did you
Well,
do?
your homeboys ask you that.
Your
too.
boy, yeah, but your homegirls are fast. What did you do? What did you do? And you're like, I ain't do nothing. I'm not the bad guy. We just didn't work. You could have
Didn't work out.
It just didn't work out. She's still cool. She's still good people.
Yeah.
We don't work. Simple.
Yeah. I mean, listen, and like, there's going to be people that try to set you up, that try to scam you, but they're usually like that before they even met you.
Yeah, how about that?
You're not going to bring that out of them.
Don't take it
gonna
personal.
Scammer going to be a scammer.
Don't
you just
take
happen to
it
be
personal.
the next person they scam. It is what it is.
It was your turn.
It was your turn to get scammed.
I don't know. Sometimes you don't see that shit till later, man.
Right.
That's a good
Sometimes
scam
you're a
artist.
woman,
It's a
like
good
you know
scam
how they
artist,
say, you know how,
exactly,
you know
yeah.
how women will say like we wear masks to try to get the buns or whatever the case may be. Like
They wear
somebody
masks
say,
too.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
makeup.
what I'm saying. They wear masks.
Makeup is the devil.
They put on this facade. Some women, not all women,
Right.
put on this facade according to what they think you want for a short-term period of time. You wind up falling for it. It turns into a long term, and then you really find out who she really is.
Because you fell for the
And you already
screensaver.
fucked. You
Bruh.
fucked already.
You fell for the
I'm at the point where I'm feeling the safest relationship is a married woman.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm scared for all of you guys that is in the dating game.
I'm not in the dating
because
game.
I'm saying all of you guys.
He's done with that
So
shit.
that whoever
I got a
takes
fiance.
that.
I'm good.
When I look out the field now, you have men out here that you can't even tell the difference with women. You got all type of crap going on, and I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like you said, you meeting females that psychos and all the type of stuff like that. I can't imagine past 35 years old trying to meet yourself.
Nigga, stop
You know what I'm saying?
rubbing it in, man.
I'm getting honest.
Feel our pain, man.
It's a
I
childhood
can't
thing.
imagine you going through that. I made good
After
decisions.
35, I just,
You know what I mean? I made very
I'm
good
agreeing.
decisions.
No, I'm agreeing. I wouldn't trust a woman
Y'all been
after
fucked up.
35 years old. You don't even know you done lived 3-4 different lives. I don't even know.
Nigga, respectfully though, I meet married women all the time. All the time, I meet married women.
Playboy Gap.
Smash married women. So
That's those married women.
there's a lot of them
Yeah,
though, babe.
that's those married women. Let me explain something. It's a lot of women out there that are married that are not happy and totally going on through their situation.
And
They
there's
got
some that's
husbands,
happy, too.
and that got husbands that's like, no, that's not true. You're wrong on that.
Nah.
Any woman that's happy would never leave
Step
her
out.
field. We got a female right here. Am I speaking truth?
That's a fact.
That's a fact,
That's a
my
fact.
dude.
I agree with you,
You know
Bigga.
what I'm saying? Take
I
away
agree
the
with
word
that.
Yo, she didn't even say yes.
agree with that.
She said,
Because everybody know that. If you
No.
satisfy
No.
a woman and you hit every angle, I spoke about that before. You can't
She ain't
be
gonna serve
financially taking care of them, but you can't have sex with them.
Right.
You can't be having sex with them, but you can't financially take care of them. You can't be doing all that, but they don't feel secure. They don't feel secure by you. If you hit all three, she ain't going nowhere. You don't have to worry about that.
I hear you,
That's a
Bigga.
fact.
I hear you.
I agree with that.
Chassie was
I agree
scared.
with
She
that.
was like,
Yeah.
Yo,
scared the shit out of me.
no,
No.
I decided.
You right
She
though.
disagrees.
I'm going.
You right though. You
Yeah.
right.
I'm going to go to Iraq to find a good wife, bro.
Iraq?
Passport
Why
bros?
Iraq? Why
You gonna
Iraq?
join the passport, bro?
Why Iraq?
Because the conditions over there, that I'm definitely gonna be a blessing, and she already knows.
You go to
She
DR
already
and get
knows.
that.
Like,
That's
yo,
what I was about
You go to
say.
DR and get that.
But you know, if you bring her back over here,
yeah, she's gonna be walking 10 steps behind me.
and somebody gonna talk to her while she back there.
Nah, it's okay. Nah,
What
that
are you
ain't
doing
gonna happen.
now?
It's okay.
You think
They don't know what's under the burger. They don't know what's under the burger.
I'm talking about a
Keep it
guy?
like that.
That's a
You think
fact.
I'm talking about a guy? I'm not talking about a guy.
Who you talking? Oh,
It's gonna be one of her
shit. Come on.
homegirls getting in her ear telling her, you know, you ain't gotta live like this if you don't want to.
Right.
We can turn this Burka into something cute for the summer girl.
And then it turns into AD. What have you done for me lately?
I don't care. I'm a better hit woman now. I want what's coming to me. Suck my dick, Mr. Fuck You Man.
Old school is over.
Shout out to Eddie Murphy.
Yo, I just seen that shit in a show on Netflix called Unorthodox about a young Jewish woman from Brooklyn. And she ran out away from her culture.
Okay.
Orthodox.
Hasidic Jew, right?
Yeah. She ran away from it and went to Berlin because some girl was in her ear telling her, you don't have to live like this. You don't have to follow these rules or these regulations. You can be you. Go do whatever you want to do. And she just left one day.
Yeah.
And how did she turn out?
She turned out pretty good.
It's a movie.
Ah, shit.
Yeah,
It's a show. She turned out
You're not helping.
No, you know why? I'm keeping it real with you. I'm not
help.
gonna freestyle, bro. Listen, I'm gonna tell you the real.
Our Iraqi chick cannot see this clip.
That's different. That's different. This is what I'm saying to you, right?
Math is joining the passport.
Once she left,
Facts.
the reason she left is because her mother was in.
Do mail orders? Mail order?
Yikes, bro.
Anyway, you didn't catch that? Anyway, she went to Berlin to find her mother.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? When she found her mother and she started going into the passions of things she loved, she couldn't do that when she was in Brooklyn. She couldn't play the piano. She couldn't talk to other men. She had wild restrictions on her.
You can play the piano.
You understand what I'm saying? So she went and found her freedom.
I lived in Borough Park in Brooklyn, in a Hasidic Jewish neighborhood, and it was
I'm
wild.
from Crown Heights, so I see.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. No, but I mean, Hasidic Jewish women have to shave their heads and wear wigs.
When they get married.
Yeah.
Yeah, they a Jewish woman can't shake hands with a man that's not her husband.
Right.
Like, literally, just can't shake hands.
Right.
In fact, like men can't. I remember coming back from Israel. I was with a girl, and there was a Hasidic Jewish man, and he, it was 3 seats. I was here, the girl was here, and the man was there. He asked me if he could change seats, if I could change seats with the girl, so he wouldn't be sitting next to a girl because he's religious.
I've seen that.
And I'm like, no, I'm not going to sit in fucking middle seat and long ass fucking flight.
You deal with God.
4 different Jewish men walked up to me to ask me the same thing to see if they could change my mind. To the point
They're
where
serious about that.
I got really fucking aggravated. I'm like, motherfucker, buy a business class ticket if this is important to you.
Right.
I'm not going to inconvenience myself over your beliefs, but it's serious there. You know what I'm saying? And I don't blame women for
You know what I fall back on?
And they're not supposed to shake your hand, but they'll invite you into their house to turn on the lights on Friday.
Yeah, I went through that in jail. They used to.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. Yeah,
Sully's-
you're
The whole
right.
thing.
Cellies that
I
was
remember
like
it was
Jewish,
like-
they'd be like, yo,
we
champ,
walk
can you
in,
turn the light on for me? They can't touch electricity.
Oh,
Like, what do you want me to do?
interesting.
turn on the lights?
Can
you turn on the stove?
Yeah,
When
man.
it comes to any of
That
this
used to
stuff,
happen.
dating,
Crown Heights.
the whole 9 yards,
Right.
when it comes to any of this, be careful who, all I say is consider the source, be careful who you take advice from, because it's a very true
Make
fact.
sure they got both parents being raised in the household.
Even outside of that,
Is that the?
No, hold on.
In my
let me-
opinion,
hold-
that's a necessity to me.
Let me land this.
Understood.
For me.
Misery loves company. When you start asking, well, why would she lie? Because misery loves company. Well, why would he just make that shit up? Because misery loves company. When they fucked up, they want you to be. They don't want to be fucked up alone. They want you fucked.
They don't give you fucked up advice.
Married
all the
women
time.
taking advice from single women makes no mistake. It makes no sense. That's like a rich
No
dude
sense.
taking advice from a broke. You broke.
Yeah.
I don't want to end up like you.
What stocks would you invest in?
Motherfucker.
Crypto. Put it all in crypto.
Thanks for the mix. Here's $1 for your bucket.
Yeah, like, bro,
You know what I mean?
consider
Silly
the
shit.
source. Consider the source, because even online and all this shit, misery loves company. Somebody popping shit about you online. They've never met you a day in their life. They talking all kinds of wild shit about you. Misery loves company. They're not happy with their lives. That's the problem. And you keep taking advice from people who are freshly fucked up in their lives. Don't do that. Misery loves company. Everybody has an
Women,
incentive
y'all
to fuck
need to
you
stop
up.
doing that though. Like if you in a good relationship and you hang with a bunch of single women, your relationship is gonna end. Like
Facts.
You're on a frequency with people who are not compatible at that moment, and you become that. Just stop doing it.
Yeah,
Take what they say
You
with
have
a
to
grain of
actually,
salt at least.
your lifestyle has to be reflected through the people that
around
you are
you.
around.
Right.
And that's real shit. Like, if I'm not doing street shit no more, I'm not going to hang with all the gangsters. I'm not. Want to know why? Because gangster shit happens around the gangsters.
All the time.
So if
comes
you
with
hang
the
with
job.
hoes shit is going to happen around the hoes. It
Absolutely.
is what it is. Come on, man. Use your brain.
Expeditiously.
Expeditiously.
Is there any other topics we want to hit on? Like, I feel like we got
No, we covered a nice range.
we got any.
We went through money,
What questions would
relationships.
Vlad ask Vlad?
I got a bunch of questions I'd ask myself, but This is your show.
Pick the first two.
Nah, come on.
Nope,
But
nope.
You the homie, man. Come on.
I'm the homie.
Okay, wait.
Yo.
What questions would you ask us?
I have to prepare.
Oh,
I'm not off the cuff.
He's not off the cuff?
I'm not off the cuff.
What's the
All-
most?
You know,
all-
I've told some of your interviewers what to ask me before.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so you owe me one.
I owe you one?
what were you just about to say?
Oh, what I say is that if you look at all my interviews with you, like let's say the last one, it was all carefully laid out, like every question.
Right.
Like we weren't freestyling it. I wasn't freestyling it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I research up to the last minute when I do my interviews. I watch, if it's someone new, I watch every interview they've ever done. If they have books, I read the books. If they have documentaries, I read the documentaries. I talk to people who know them to get some information that they may not have talked about. You know what I mean? Previously, I go to my mental Rolodex and I think about, if they're an older person, some of the stuff that I read.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I always carefully.
I'm leery about watching the other interviews because,
You don't want it to bleed over.
yeah, and sometimes people will give a different response depending on the situation or
Right.
how it
Who was
leads
asking
up.
the question.
You know what I mean? So I don't want to take
Yeah.
anything. So it's like not listening to certain rappers because you don't want to sound like them when you go in the studio. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
I could respect that, except that I could interview you and ask the same topics that another interviewer has asked you, and our interview will come out completely different because the way that I dig into topics and the way that I use them and
Exactly.
go off
But
tangents
that's what I'm
and
saying.
so forth, and the way I navigate what it is that I talk about is going to be very different than
Right.
what other people do.
Right.
Like I feel like I have, you know, I will go further and dig deeper than most people are comfortable with to
Right.
do. Just because out of their own embarrassment or maybe fear of how the person will react or whatever else. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like I interviewed Neil deGrasse Tyson and I talked about his Me Too accusations. He's never talked about this before, ever. I don't even think he's made a statement about it. But I figured out a way to navigate into those questions and to get an answer out of him and then continue to talk to him for another hour after that.
Right.
Because I prepared for this and I had all the facts in front of me and there's a way to ease into certain things
certain
very, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if a person said, if they say I don't want to talk about it, I'll go, okay, cool, next topic. Or if they tell me ahead of time they don't want to talk about it, I won't even bring it up. But if that's not there, I'm going to ask the questions that a lot of people want to know.
Right.
And that's why I watch all the other interviews, because you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times the other interviewers will touch on a subject and then they
And
will
then
dig
they'll
as deep
skip
as me.
over it.
They'll
Right.
skip over it.
I almost
Right.
wanted to know
I'm
what
gonna
Neil
dig.
said.
I'm gonna dig.
I'm pretty confident in some of the questions that I come up with. If I see a video title that they're not gonna ask the same way that I'm gonna ask,
Right.
or they're not gonna lead into it the same way that I am.
Exactly.
So
You
with
know what
all
I mean?
that said, as many times you've been here and chopped it up, you don't have nothing uncomfortable that you could ask him right now?
No, honestly,
I know,
and if it is, it's something I already told him I
I
want to
know.
talk about.
I would like to know what's your top 5 interviews. Was Vlad top 5 interviews?
I mean, I think that in no particular order, because it's hard
Yeah,
to,
it doesn't.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I always have to say the Keefe D interview, you know,
Keefe D.
about the murder of Tupac. And I feel like that is the single most complete piece that answers the question of who killed Tupac. Because it's still, to this day, an unsolved case, right? It's still an open murder case. And I feel like there's been so many conspiracy theories around this story, and Suge did it, the government did it, you know, whoever else.
He's still alive.
He's still alive in Cuba, you know, whatever. This right here, I feel, not only answers that question completely from the last living person in the car that did the shooting, and also ties in all the other stories that I did, from the first responder to Idi Amin, who was in the car behind him, you know, to other investigators who talked about it, to Mob James, and you know, who was there in the, you know, at the club when all this was happening. That right there, for every Tupac fan, and there's a lot of Tupac fans.
Right.
This just answers. This puts this question to a close completely in the best possible way of anything I've ever seen personally.
So it's the solving of Tupac.
The solving of Tupac's murder. I feel that I've solved
Keefe
it.
D. That's number one.
Yeah. the Fab Morvan interview. He's the one living member of Milli Vanilli. You know, this is the only group in the history of the Grammys that had to give back their Grammys.
Right.
You know, and we're not just talking about like some like one of the half-ass Grammys, like Best New Artist, Song of the Year. Like they won 2 of the biggest Grammys you could get, and it was found out that they didn't do any of the singing. They were lip syncing. That this was actually the producer put it together, and Kevin Liles was one of the original writers of this. The Girl You Know Is True. He was behind that original song. You know what I'm saying? So it's very full circle in terms of the music industry. But he lays the whole story out of how they got caught up in all this, and all the way down to how
his partner committed suicide.
Well, either committed suicide or overdosed. Hard to say. He was about to check into rehab. And you know, a lot of times when dudes go into rehab,
they do that one last.
That one last night, that one last drug, you know, binge, and sometimes that kills them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think Aaron Carter went through something similar recently when he died. That right there would be number 2. Well, out of the list of 5. The Smokey Robinson interview that I did a few months ago. That is probably one of the most accomplished musical artists.
He kind of opened my eyes a lot to things that I wanted to know about
You
Michael
watched the
Jackson.
interview?
Michael Jackson,
Yeah,
the part
exactly.
when he was talking about Michael and the type of environment that he cultivated around him, and kind of like explain some things.
That's definitely, you know, I mean, like the level of musical contribution that Smokey Robinson did, I think, is just on a level you rarely see in human beings that are still alive. You know what I'm saying? The number of songs, the timelessness of what he did, one of the greatest songwriters of all time, to be sitting in front of me and be able to ask him anything I want, and to hear this sort of life story, I think is amazing.
That's 3.
That's 3. The John Witherspoon interview. I did one of his last
Bang, bang,
interviews.
bang,
Salute to Pops.
Bang, bang.
I was such a fan of him as a actor and comedian, that to be able to just hear the backstories of the mushroom belt and you know, how all this was ad-libbed, you know, how all this, he came up with all this, and the Friday, and how it all came together, and the fact that he passed away so soon after the interview, and he never got to tell his life story up until that interview.
Was that his last interview?
It may have been. He may have done Joe Rogan afterwards, I'm not sure, but it was definitely one of them.
The fact that they won't let his son take his place on and bring back the Boondocks really pisses me off, because his son does a dead-on impression of him. Oh man, dead-on impression.
That's dope.
They could bring the Boondocks.
How many is that?
That's 4. You got 1 more.
Math Hoffa, okay, let's go.
Okay. Let me think. Because we're talking about 15 years of interviews.
Yeah, epic.
15 years. Even though I didn't do the whole interview, I did part of it, you know, but I was involved in the production of it. I would say the Mike Tyson interview.
I figured that one.
Especially since we had a little tense moment at the end, you know what I mean?
Oh,
And I kind of rubbed him the wrong way with the question.
And then
I managed to survive it, you know. Lunge at me.
what did you feel in that moment?
I felt like things might go left. Because we're in an actual boxing ring.
Right.
And my security is like way over there. He's not going to get to me in time. Mike is fast. Right?
That's a
He's known for his speed, right?
superhuman.
Me and him are sitting across like me and you are.
Yeah.
My security, like, you know, is way over there outside the ring.
Right.
By the time he runs in, I could catch a 5-piece.
But
in the biscuit. You know what I mean? Like, I could be like that dude on the airplane. You know what I mean? Mike, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and you got to sit there and like, and then I'm just going to run out. It's like, okay, I got to sit here and try to navigate this back into a nice, cordial conversation, which I managed to do.
right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
What did you get upset about?
what I said was, I said, because he had talked about, even off camera, he was talking about all the street guys that I interviewed. Like, you know, he was really like, you know, like he was close to this dude Von Zip, who was this gangster that was Keefy D and everything else like that. There was this other Brooklyn gangster I interviewed. I don't remember what his name off the top of my head, but he's like, oh, well, you interviewed that dude. Like, I knew that dude. He was crazy. Like, and so forth. So I knew that Mike always surrounded himself with street guys.
Right.
You know, I mean, even like, for example, like the dude that allegedly shot 50, Hamo, was Mike's right-hand man.
Right.
You know, I never brought that up at the time because I didn't know at the time. But so Mike's always had these street guys around him. So the question was like, yo, here you are, this, you know, you're a celebrity that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He wasn't just a millionaire, he was 100 millionaire.
Right.
You know, what is it, you know, why do you have this attraction to these street guys?
Mm-hmm.
He said, I said, why are you attracted to street guys? He goes, what do you mean attracted?
Yup.
I said, that was, and I'm thinking like, damn, I should have said attract. Like, you know, that wasn't what I meant. But he took it that way.
Mike could have just hit you with a pause.
You know?
Just pause.
The
And
one
I'm
time
like-
pause is useful.
And I'm like, well, no, you know, like you talking about Eric Von Zip, you know, it just seems like you really, you know, you're friends with him and, you know, so forth. And he's like, oh, you think I like, you know, hanging out, you know? And I'm like, well, you know, you just spoke very kindly of these dudes and so forth. He's like, yeah, well, you know, they came from the same place that I come from. You know, and so forth. Woo! Thank God. And, you know, and he kept like, you know, I could tell like at that point he was kind of fucking with me like, oh yeah, you'd expect me to turn out like this, huh? I'm beautiful, huh? You're gorgeous. I'm just going along
Should
with
have
it.
looked at him and said, I'm not attracted.
You know, but it was a moment. You know what I'm saying? It was a moment, and it's with one of the biggest celebrities in the world. I mean, you know, there's few people that are more famous than Mike Tyson worldwide.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And me being a super fan, like, you know, growing up, Mike Tyson was my superhero in the
Mine
boxing
too.
world. You know what I'm saying? Because not only was he a reigning champion, but he seemed completely invincible, and the way he would knock people out was just 30 seconds in. It wasn't like, you know, like, you could like Mayweather, but Mayweather is very much
Technical.
a technical dude that will
It's gonna
go
go-
all 12 rounds.
Right.
There won't be no knockouts.
Piece you up
He'll piece you up and he'll beat you in the points. Not Mike. Mike will knock you the fuck out.
Now,
and it was
coming
just
to
be at the
destroy
party
you.
and like
Yeah.
be at the club in like half
in
an
the
hour.
club. Yeah,
fact.
you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I'd interviewed Buster Douglas and got, you know what I mean? There was some discrepancy over that whole thing. And then, you know, and then people, other people like Riddick Bowe. Did Riddick Bowe? No, it wasn't Riddick Bowe that boxed him.
Lennox Lewis?
No,
Buster.
yeah, Buster, but then
Evander.
Yeah, they never interviewed Evander. Larry Holmes, did Larry Holmes ever box?
Yeah,
Tyson?
but he got hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
so I interviewed other people around him, so it was like, yo, you know, Zab Judah did the primary interview, but I had asked to come in and just ask a few questions after the fact. But you know, I helped Zab put the, you know, even when I don't do an interview, I help put together the questions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My hands are in all the Vlad TV interviews in one way or another.
Right.
Even when it's another like a Sean Prez or whatever else, it's my hands in it. You know.
Zab Judah should pull up. Shout out to Zab.
Yeah, shout out to
He
Zab.
coming through.
Zab, what up, man? Wingate alumni. Well, they kicked me out, but you know, we was at Wingate, so yeah, let's make that happen.
Yeah,
Zab
that's the
should pull
homie,
up.
man.
Word.
I fuck with Zab.
That's a nice top 5.
It's a nice top 5, yeah. I think you know, and I'll give an honorable mention to Shaka Khan.
Yes.
Lunel did that interview. I was there. I sat in and watched it, and you know, kind of make sure it went a certain type of way. But you know, another, what she had like 10 Grammys under her belt, like one of the
Yeah, icon status.
icon, complete icon on every
And one of the
level.
most recognizable voices
Yes.
on the planet. When she sings, you know it's
Right. And these like old school divas do not give a fuck. They do not hold their tongue. Like she told Ariana to go fuck off. Like Ariana Grande should fuck her. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You did Stephanie Mills too.
Yeah, Sean Prez did it.
Sean Prez
Prez did it,
but
yeah.
that interview, she said some stuff
She
that
said some
went
shit.
viral.
Yeah.
All right,
On
so
this platform.
what's your top 5 list of interviews you want to do?
I mean, we've been having discussions to do the O.J. Simpson interview for a while now,
That's
and we
major.
just can't come to an agreement.
Damn,
You know what I'm saying? Because
It's so much to unpack.
Yeah. And, I mean, listen, sometimes it takes a while, sometimes it never happens. When I did Sammy the Bull, it took 2 years of negotiation to get to the point of actually doing the interview.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? This is what we're going to do, and we'll wait until y'all are cool with doing it, and we'll figure out something that makes sense for everybody, and eventually we figured it out. Yeah. The O.J. Simpson interview hasn't happened yet. It may have, it came close to happening, but there were some points that neither one of us wanted to budge on, and so ultimately it didn't happen. I think the O.J. interview would be epic if it ever happened. I think an Eminem interview would be epic if it ever happened. Just because we're like the exact same age.
I want to beat you to that.
You gonna beat me to it?
I want to beat you.
Please do. I'll tune in and watch. I'll tune in and watch.
If an interview happens, but it was never recorded, did it still happen?
I mean, I did an interview with Kanye that I lost the recording of.
So it happened?
It happened.
Okay, so I beat you both to it.
Oh, you did?
Oh, you interviewed
That can't even part of the show. It doesn't count.
You interviewed him for the sauce?
Say it again?
You interviewed him for the sauce?
We went on, we toured. We sponsored the Up in Smoke tour.
Wow.
And I interviewed him
That's dope.
as a little dude. I got a chance to talk to him.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
dope.
great.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, just because, like I said, with us being the same age and us having kind of a similar hip hop experience, I think that with my interview style, I just think it'd be a type of interview that he's never done.
Right.
That he'll probably will never do. But if I got to do it, I think it'd be something that the whole world would tune in.
I feel like he would come here first.
Probably. You're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
I mean, he did Crooked Eye.
Crooked Eye.
Yeah.
And he shouted me out in that.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
No.
He gave me the ultimate cosign.
That's what's up.
Early. Yeah.
That's what's up.
I remember that.
Shout to
I remember that.
Shout out to
Yeah, that
him.
was.
See, I don't want to just do the obvious names, that everyone.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the obvious because
Especially if they really
everyone will
belong
have
on the list.
Yeah.
but you might have your own reasons for wanting to
No,
do it.
I understand. So that's 2, right? We need 3 more.
Everybody wants the Jay-Z and
Yeah, everyone wants the Jay-Z interview, everyone wants the Nas interview. Well, Nas. Okay, because, I've taken some shots at Nas over the years in terms of his beat picking that he seems to have addressed on his various records over the years.
Right. I always thought the reason for Nas's beat selection is because he wants his lyrics to be the most important part of the song.
That's exactly what he said when I interviewed him.
That's cool.
That's exactly what the man
Next
said.
is throwing out point cards right
That is
now.
on some shit right now, bro. You got the big and a little joker right now.
That's
Terrorizing.
Trump, you heard? It's Trump right now. Trump tight, you heard?
Great.
That was my cover story.
But,
But,
Illmatic, I thought, was a perfect album.
I agree.
And you can't say that
felt like it was
the
written
beats
once.
weren't
it
weren't
was
outshine
written
or
to me.
whatever.
Well,
I
it
felt like
was
it
the
was
first
written
super
once.
It was written was a
producer,
perfect
super
album.
producer
Producer
album.
album, exactly.
Yeah.
Where he got all the hottest dudes.
Yeah, it was
They're
a
all
cheat
kinda-
code.
Yeah, no, it was
Cheat code.
It was written was a perfect album.
Yeah,
Yeah?
to me.
Second, yeah.
That was a better album.
I didn't like it was written
Doesn't take away from
didn't?
I
Illmatic.
loved
as
it.
much now.
How was that
Because
possible?
I felt like he was I felt that by the second album, he lost, and he grew as a person. He suddenly had all these new experiences, but that first album put me in Queensbridge. Like it was so honest and humble. There was no Nas Escobar. There was no grandiose imagery and imaginary kind of figure, mafia, whatever. It was like, yo, I'm this broke kid out of the projects. Like New York State of Mind is one of my favorite songs ever.
Yeah,
ever.
Escobar was not, and it was written either. It was
Really?
He wasn't Nas Escobar. He became Escobar.
But he was
by the
doing
next project.
Nas.
It was very slick. It was
Yeah.
Trackmaster's
It was Esco.
production.
He
Yeah,
was
Dre,
going by-
Dre,
he was
wearing
Nas
suits
is
by Esco.
coming, and
No,
I
that
just-
was that was
No,
was the third album?
That's further
Nah,
on.
Nas is coming is on it was
It's on the
written.
second album, yeah.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Nas is coming.
Yeah, that's the
It's
first-
on the
that's-
second album.
yeah.
Second album, I think.
It's on
Did
it
he
was
say
written, bro.
Escobar on it?
Yeah, because the Firm came right after that Dre was.
No,
Dre
he said all
executive
that
produced.
Escobar stuff came on IM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
When
Maybe
Steve
I'm wrong.
Stout
Maybe
got
I'm
him and
wrong.
all that.
Like I said, this is 25-year-old material. That, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
that
right.
I could fuck up. But
So that's three.
Okay, that's 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, I mean, like the great interviews usually have some degree of uncomfortability and, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of conflict and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're not just flowing and everything's great. It's like there's a little bit of
Pushback.
pushback and where is this going to go? The person might walk out if the wrong question gets asked.
You're like, yayo.
Like, yeah, that was a classic interview, right? Look, we still rocking today.
Yeah. Yo, tell him what's up, man. Come back. Come back through.
Tell me, we got to
come back.
Yayo. I interviewed
It's
Yayo
one of my favorite albums.
2 days ago.
You're right.
2 days ago.
Yeah, the new interview's out today.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so that's 3, right? So we got Nas, Eminem,
Got him.
and who's the one I mentioned?
Nas,
Said
Eminem.
Nas,
Kanye?
Eminem,
Was it
and
Kanye?
No.
he said
First-
OJ.
OJ.
first was OJ.
OJ.
Okay,
You got
2
that
more.
one.
2 more.
Oprah.
No.
I would.
Say it.
No. I mean, obviously it would be a huge
I
interview, but
definitely would.
that's not a
Yeah.
I definitely would.
that's not that wouldn't be like a dream interview for me.
Right.
She's adjacent to a dream interview for me.
Is she?
Oprah, she's adjacent. It's not
Adjacent.
her.
No, she is a dream interview for me.
Not me.
No.
I'm with Vlad.
Y'all know.
You know who
Y'all tripping.
You know who's adjacent?
Y'all tripping.
You know who's adjacent?
Who?
Barack.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking that
Yeah,
an
but
interview.
bro, but as an interviewer interviewing one of the master interviewers,
That's
That's
one of the
different.
reasons why I don't want to talk to her. But the
different.
reason I want to talk to Barack is because there's a lot of questions he's never got a chance to
and he's not
answer.
going to answer
not.
it.
But but
I'm still
He's
gonna
not
ask
going to
him.
answer
But
it.
Obama
still
is so media trained at the highest
Yeah,
levels.
that's what I'm saying.
You're
Like,
not going
that's
to get.
that's the
No.
Rubik's
You're not gonna
Cube.
get
That's
the-
that's
that's
Listen,
what
what
man,
you do.
I would love to catch Oprah after 2 bottles of wine, bro. Just break it down.
As if she's gonna drink 2 bottles of wine and then come talk.
Hey, man.
Like that's
You
gonna
never
happen.
know.
Hey.
You never know.
Warren Buffett,
Love it.
Warren Buffett
Elon Musk.
and Elon
That's
Musk.
5.
Elon Musk is on my list, too.
That's a killer 5.
What's your top 5, Matt?
Jay, of
M.
course, Nas, and Oprah. Elon, okay, not so much on my top 5. Who's that person? At this point, I'm just waiting to see how long y'all gonna wait for
Come on, man. Dave Chappelle, fucking Eddie Murphy.
Dave, definitely. Actually,
The fuck?
Dave.
Dave,
Yeah,
right?
we talked
He's
about
on my
this the
he's
other
on
day.
my list.
Dave
What's your
Chappelle.
top 5?
He's on my list. Dave Chappelle, Barack Obama, Jay-Z, because we started a conversation we never finished.
Same thing with Dave. Give me my credits. Give me my credits. Give me my credits. Okay, cool.
Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
Who's that?
He's,
Oh, the UFC
MMA,
fighter?
Yes,
Yeah.
champ, Israel, and oh God, there was, I had one that I just lost.
Your favorite rapper, Redman.
I've interviewed him already.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
Harriet Tubman.
Pass. No, if
we
living
gotta do
a-
no,
living a-
Hey.
we gotta stay with living people.
Yeah.
We're-
Listen, we got
Stop
AI
bringing-
now. They can analyze all the information on her and generate a computer.
Oh, shit.
A computer image of
Did he?
Harriet. Did he?
Did he?
I interviewed Diddy.
Oh, shit.
I wasn't really impressed with the interview.
What?
Okay.
I just didn't
could
feel
understand
like
He was open?
not so much that. I just I feel like when I speak to some of the greats, I sort of get that greatness in their answers and in their methodology. And I just didn't quite catch that with Diddy.
Who'd you forget?
Dr. Dre.
Ooh,
That's a good
yeah.
one.
That's what I was gonna say. All I would
I would sum up one of my
We gonna
people.
get
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's a good one.
I would swap out on the
Dr.
list.
Dre.
I'll swap someone out
That
for
would
Dre.
be.
Sean Baker.
I'll swap Warren Buffett out for Dr. Dre.
I would swap Diddy out for Dre.
Okay, there you
Pause.
Sean Bigger. Your top 5.
Karis one. Rakim, LL Cool J.
Interviewed him.
And He said my thing, so my interview.
No, I got you.
from
I got you.
yours. But those three, last two, maybe Mike Tyson. You know, maybe Mike. But like the fifth one, it gotta be like one of these big ministers. So it would have to be like it would be between it's a
TD and
list,
Creflo?
it's a list of them, yeah.
TD and Creflo.
And he's on the
Whichever one,
list.
Yeah,
Got you,
TD.
got
you. I think
Creflo,
TD would be a
TD
dope
Jakes,
interview
you know what I'm
also.
saying?
The mega church.
Gino Jennings.
Right,
you
right,
know,
right.
Definitely, you know, one of them. I gotta hit him.
Copy that.
I'm gonna say Redman, Mary J. Blige,
Yep. Nice.
Janet Jameson.
M.O.P.
Yeah.
Okay, I interviewed them before. No one's mentioned Drake or Kendrick.
Lil' Kim.
You notice that?
Yeah.
No one's mentioned Drake or Kendrick.
Oh, I ain't. Wow.
Or who?
Yeah.
And,
Drake or who?
That's true. I mean, that would be incredible, but it just doesn't, for some reason, it just doesn't feel like, you know?
Yeah.
You said Drake or Kendrick?
Yeah, no one's mentioned Drake or Kendrick in the list.
Like, I feel like,
I didn't go
I feel
yet.
like
That was
Barack
one of
is
my-
more
that was one of
possible
my-
than
That's one
Drake.
of yours? My bad.
Barack Obama in this shop is more possible than Drake.
and
I feel like
That's sad.
I mean, he
my
already
fifth,
did.
Swiss Beats.
I've interviewed Swiss before.
Swiss.
Your top five.
Pause.
So I'm a producer. I love beat making and music. So Kendrick was one of mine.
Okay.
Dr. Dre,
Okay.
Just Blaze,
Yep. I interviewed
Timberland, and Pharrell.
Just Blaze.
Pharrell.
That's
I
what
got a
I went
Pharrell
to.
interview.
Yeah. Teddy Riley. Teddy Riley.
Okay, Mecca, you interviewed everybody.
Between
Okay.
Kendrick and Pharrell.
All right.
Kendrick was a great interview.
There's only 2 magazines back then. That had, okay? All right.
But there was a whole bunch of writers.
Because my thing is, I don't see interviewers when they're interviewing producers like really get into the intricacies of production.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't see that, and
You
I
know
have
what-
so many fucking
You
questions.
know what you needed?
Right.
You know
About
what you
that.
needed? There was a magazine, real shit, that was out, and the whole basis of it
What was
producers.
it called?
Yeah.
Jerry L. Barrow ran it, and it was under the XXL umbrella, and the name
what
of
was
the
in it?
magazine.
Scratch?
I remember
You talking about
Scratch.
Yeah,
Scratch.
I was locked up reading that. I know what
I
you're
was in
talking
Scratch.
about.
at
But
some
You
point.
was in Scratch too?
But I don't
Yeah,
want
'cause he was
to.
black.
Here's my
Yeah.
thing. I read it. I read it while I was in prison, but I want to talk to these people,
No, I got you.
like
Yeah.
face
I
to
got
face.
you.
No, listen.
Magazine.
No, listen. I've interviewed Teddy Riley,
Yeah.
Dallas Austin,
Teddy's supposed to pull up.
Dark Child.
Nice.
Dog Child's an animal.
Yeah.
Yo.
Dark
You know what I'm
Child.
saying?
You
Like-
forget about
Riley
Dark
created a
Child.
whole sound.
That
bro.
R&B
Like,
bag
he's
is different.
You know what I'm saying?
What
Like,
he did for Brandy,
Yeah.
incredible. Incredible.
That Full Moon album?
Yeah, bro. That's
and I actually, he invited me.
that's
to,
her thriller.
You know, Dark Child
That's her
invited me
thriller.
to his home. Like I was in his home studio doing the interview. Like you know,
That's
what I mean,
dope.
it was like, damn, like this is some heavy shit.
What
I was in
inspired
Teddy
you?
Riley's home in Vegas doing the interview with his whole family watching.
Wow.
This
He's
is a
in
moment.
Vegas.
Yo, Vlad, what, who inspired you, or what inspired you to want to do interviews?
60 minutes.
60
You said that.
So,
60 minutes.
all the interviewers on the show, or
60
one
minutes.
particular one that inspired
All
you?
the whole concept of the show, the way they did it. Because I've always felt like
Larry King.
another
Yeah.
one, another one. Yeah.
No, you said you wanted.
Yeah,
your
hip hop.
design was
Yeah,
more Larry King.
Was more Larry King, but 60 Minutes I felt was a platform that shifted the world when these interviews dropped. You know what I'm saying? Like
Everybody tuned
they
in.
would do a story and laws would change based on the story. And when I would watch this, and then I would go watch hip hop interviews and think how lame they were.
Yeah.
You know, I'd watch these radio interviews and think about how they ain't talking about shit.
They're
And
trying
these
to preserve
interviews
a relationship.
are just being tossed away. You know what I'm saying? And this
Yeah.
is why, like, I'm glad with this hip hop power list, you know, that Complex put together, that it wasn't a bunch of the old school radio dudes. Because I feel like those dudes are kind of like the old way of hip hop journalism, where they don't want to ask too many tough questions, just focus on the new album that's coming out and a bunch of like softball type shit. Where like 60 Minutes is like, yo, like we're gonna go straight into it and we're gonna go hard, and this is really going to change the world after this interview is done. Whereas all these hip hop interviews, unless you had someone that was very outspoken like a Tupac, most of them are forgettable.
Yeah.
So my thing was Vlad TV was going to be like the 60 minutes of hip hop. So that inspired me, and I still watch the show, you know, almost every episode that I can. So yeah, that there was no one in hip hop that I looked up to on the interview side of things. Not a single person. And shout out to all the legendary dudes like, you know, Sway and Big Boy.
MECC.
You know, MECC, you know, Bonsu and Double XL, and all these dudes who I you know, and Dave Mays and everyone else who set the platform, but I just felt like what they did is not what I was going to do.
Right.
I was going to be more 60 Minutes. And I took the flack for being the 60 Minutes of hip hop, you know, by being called the police and the feds and all that other shit. You know, but you fast forward to 2023, a lot of people do Vlad TV type interviews.
Yeah.
I was just the poster boy that had to take the darts early on of doing these types of interviews, but everyone is now starting to catch up in their own type of way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to name any names, but you know what I mean? You watch a lot of interviews, it's like, oh, you asking Vlad type questions. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool.
That's my whole Troy Ave interview that they.
Yeah?
Oh, you was Vlad Hoffa. Your man called me Vlad Hoffa.
Who?
China Mac.
China Mac, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, how's that an insult, my guy?
Yeah. Yeah, you told me about that. I didn't even catch that when it happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You need to check him next time you see him.
Or don't. Or don't.
You got beef with Benny?
Who?
Benny.
I guess
Benny
that's
the Butcher?
Yeah.
No.
You don't feel like he stole your shit?
He's like, wow, what about
Oh, yeah. You know who pointed that out was Alchemist.
Yeah.
Because I used to be called Vlad the Butcher during my mixtape days.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I heard Benny, it was like that one mixtape with the 97 Hove. It was on there, and Alchemist did a bunch of the beats. And I remember I just texted Alchemist. I'm like, yo, this Benny shit is crazy. He was like, yo, one butcher to another. And I'm like, oh, I didn't.
Yeah, then you
Oh
put it
shit,
together.
yeah, like that was dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, nah, man, I don't. I've never like we all like me and Too Short think the same in terms of this. It's like we put shit out there in the world for people to absorb it and emulate it in their own way. Why would we ever get mad at someone who uses part of what we do and incorporates it into their own content, art form?
Unless they're a
whatever.
content creator.
Well, I mean, unless they're stealing it.
I mess with you.
You know what I'm saying? Like we push shit out there. Like, you know what I mean? Like the, you know, the Yeezy and everything else like that, that came from Too Short and E40. They're not complaining, crying, oh, we need to get our, nah, like we put the shit out there and people emulate it and people work it out in the same way, just like I emulated 60 Minutes and all these other people that I watched. And we all create it, and the art form continues and the creativity continues and everything else like that. I'm never mad at that, man. You know, there's been lots of, and some of these people have been cool enough to come on my show and tell me, like the Sean Cotton or the Adam 22s were like, yo, we were heavily influenced by what you were doing just because you were doing it before us.
Right.
And we've had our own spin on it. We've made millions of dollars.
Right.
And that's dope. I've never asked for nothing off that. That's y'all shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Come do my show, cool. If you want me to do your show, cool. I've always like, if someone comes on my show, I will always return the favor. And I always feel like it's some fuck shit when someone does it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
If
do.
I do their show,
Yeah.
and then they're too busy.
It's kind of whack.
They're too busy to suddenly do my
you
show.
do their show and they never put it out.
I've never had that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, Vlad, anything next for you? Anything else happening? What else can we look forward to?
I mean, let's see. Tomorrow, I mean, by the time this comes out, this will be out. The you know, the Nigerian brothers who were involved in the Jussie Smollett hoax.
Oh yeah.
You got him?
That's coming out tomorrow.
Wow.
Juicy Smollet.
Yeah,
Okay,
Juicy
okay.
Smollett. I haven't brought that up.
Juicy Smollett.
So just, what
Smollett.
was the whole gist of this?
The gist of it was
Because they're obviously not in jail, so.
no, they weren't charged with anything.
Right.
They didn't do anything wrong, right? The gist of it was that, you know, one of them was a stand-in on Empire. Like Jussie like got to know one of them on some workout type shit. He got him a job as a stand-in for like to play like his he had a love interest, a gay love interest on the show. And this guy was just a stand-in to just work out the scenes and so forth. During that time, they got cool. He helped Jussie like cop some drugs, you know, some ecstasy and cocaine. He was the middleman. Jussie would pay him with Venmo, which is crazy. You know, like when he wants buyer protection, that shit. Like, and basically what happened was Jussie got some hate mail to Empire, like someone's, you know, whatever, oh, die, F word, maybe it was a, you know, hanging, something. And he felt like the Empire people didn't really pay much attention to it or make a big enough deal out of it. So he got together with them and concocted this plan where they would pretend to beat him up on camera and he would put the video out and it would it would go viral.
Right.
And he wouldn't call the police and it would just be this. And the justification for doing this was like, listen, in Hollywood, this is how it all works. He told them that the Kim Kardashian kidnapping didn't really happen. It was all fake, which is not true. Right? It is real. Kim really got kidnapped. People are really going to prison. Kanye literally left his show and flew to Paris. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't fake. But these guys are just trying to get into Hollywood, so this big star is telling them how it works. So he's like, okay, they paid him $3,500 to do this shit.
Yikes.
With a check, which the police found. You know?
That's crazy.
And you know, once they got arrested and everything else like that, they cooperated. And you know,
I hear Dave Chappelle in my head right now.
You know, I know this guy named Jussie Smollett.
Juicy. I brought that up in the interview. You know, they thought it was hilarious. I did the only interview with Lance on Rivera about the Jay-Z stabbing. That's supposed to come out tomorrow, I think, as well.
Wow.
Tune in for that one.
Yep.
Did he do it?
You gotta tune in. It's a very convoluted story.
Bro, by the time this drops,
He got stabbed.
Yeah, he got stabbed.
He got stabbed.
Did he say what?
But he's claiming that Jay didn't do it. But he claimed that Jay's people did. But then there is an alternate story, like Chris Gotti was there when it happened, and he said that Jay did stab him. He saw the knife in Jay's hand, and he got him out the club and everything else like that. So there's conflicting versions of the story.
Wow.
Right? And, you know, Chris said, you know, I have no problems with Lance. Like, you know, I'm cool with Lance. You know, I'm just telling you what I saw. I was there.
Right.
Murder Inc. was in the building. You know what I'm saying? And Jay told a slightly different version of the story in his book. So there's sort of like these three versions of the same story. That you're not quite sure.
We all know that Jay nicknamed himself Jigga.
Shortly after. That are old enough know what the streets said at that time.
What did the streets say?
That night they said that he walked up, that they was in the spot, and Jay saw him and walked up to him and
poked him up.
Yeah.
Jigga. he claimed that Jay himself never stabbed him, but he said that Jay's people surrounded him and stabbed him up. You know what I'm saying?
Did he say when it was over? Because we had
Leaked his music type shit.
Yeah,
well, I mean, the story was that Jay's album got bootlegged.
Yeah, volume 3.
Volume 3, and that he was somehow. But that to me sounds weird.
That's what
because
the street said at that time, though.
That part just doesn't make sense to me.
Why is that?
Because how much. He's already had a bunch of success with Big. Like, you know what I mean? Like Lil' Kim, that was his project. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your man's falling asleep already.
You're supposed to be protecting. Hey, you're supposed to be over here protecting us.
That's not a good look. That's not a
I like to play with my security's fully awake right now.
He ain't fully awake. He ain't fully awake. He ain't fully awake. I've been watching him too. He ain't fully awake.
Still not a good look. It's not.
Fully awake now, bro. We can roll back the tape later.
Before we start making fun of the orange people in the room.
Vlad, hold on. So
Dutch.
Vlad was saying,
Yeah.
that Unsaid it wasn't
It wasn't had nothing
because
to do
of
with
the bootlegging of
Yeah,
volume
he
3.
said he had no idea what
Dutch said
that
it
was
was
even
over
about.
Charlie Baltimore.
Yeah, and I brought that up too, and he said that's not true. And even Charlie said that wasn't true. Charlie Baltimore, because Cameron said that, and Charlie said that wasn't true. It isn't. But who cares? I mean,
At this point,
you think Jay would stab somebody over Charlie Baltimore?
No, I think
That doesn't make sense.
no,
The
no,
album
no,
sounds
no.
more-
The bootlegging, the bootlegging
bootlegging,
of his
yeah.
album is
Right.
because
Yeah,
That shit was bootleg like a motherfucker.
It was.
That shit was everywhere in the
That shit was on
2000.
Graham,
Facts.
Knickerbocker.
I didn't even know it was coming out. Somebody started playing it.
Yo, bro,
Okay.
we used to go on Fulton to get the bootlegger volume 3 just to get the version that had "Is That Your Bitch" on it. Because the original
we're back
version
to
didn't
the
have it on
bootleg.
it.
Yeah,
to
we've
bootleg.
come 360. Back to bootleg.
I'm
Back to
saying, it is what it
bootlegging,
is.
yeah.
Everybody
I
that
There
don't
did
wasn't
know.
no
like
internet
CD.
then.
Yeah, he claimed. What's that?
There was no internet.
There was no
then.
internet.
You had to
yeah.
go get
Yeah,
that
you
shit
had to
off
go
the
to
corner.
physical burn copy. Yeah,
Bootleg
he claims he had nothing to do with the bootleg. And to me, it sounds a little bit crazy because like I said, he was Big's business partner. He was involved in he was a partner in the Junior Mafia album. He was a partner in Lil' Kim's first
Right.
album. He was the Not Tonight remix. That was him. Cameron signed to him initially.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Confessions of Fire and all that type
All
of
that
shit.
Yeah.
Maybe it was one of his mans on his team.
Possibly, but how much money do you? Once you bootleg one copy,
It's over.
It's over.
It's over. So you
Everywhere.
can't really make a bunch of money.
You can't
bootlegging.
collect revenue.
You can't. Yeah, you can't just keep bootlegging and bootlegging. You're making all this like it doesn't make sense.
Niggas had a street team running around like collecting all the bootlegs. And the remember MOP did that too. They was walking down the
I
Ave.
did that on 25th, but it was a mistake. Because to a certain extent, they kind of popularized stuff too.
Right.
And I wasn't
my
in a
stuff used to
position
get
to feel
bootlegged.
bad about
I mean, I got
this
into it with bootleggers as a mixtape DJ. I remember on Flatbush Ave, I got into it with
There was a whole
Jamaican
song. If you bootleg, you get your leg broke.
But that's what was
ridiculous.
50 Cent's whole guerrilla marketing tactic.
It worked for him.
By putting the bootlegs
Yeah,
out, like
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead,
Yeah, he would
get
give
it
it to
out
the
there.
bootleggers.
Yeah, and it worked for him.
It worked. It more than worked for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, you got to have that good product at the end. And Get Rich or Die Trying was that product.
Right.
If you had
Yeah.
dropped a whack album after all the bootlegging, it wouldn't have mattered.
And now we have AI.
Gotta be a 10. You gotta be a 10.
Now we have high tech bootlegging. We have
Yeah.
AI.
You got AI. The internet. One copy gets out. It's out everywhere.
But don't worry, folks. We'll still be here.
Yo, Math, I'm featuring on your next album in a Jay-Z voice. You gonna kill him, son. You gonna make
We're not
mad
doing
bread,
that.
son.
We're not doing that.
telling you.
That's not how you get a Jay-Z
Drake,
verse.
Weekend, whatever you need me to do,
That's not
bro.
how you get a
I
Jay-Z
got you.
verse. It's not the way. It's not the route. It's not the route.
I mean, other than that, I'm trying to think. Like I interviewed Robert Cool Bell from Cool and the Gang. The founder of Cool and the Gang.
Right.
I remember me and Just Blaze were talking before the interview because, Just Blaze sampled Pump It Up was a Cool and the Gang
Yeah,
song.
yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? I wanted to actually get Just Blaze asking him some questions on video, but I hit up just right before the interview and he didn't have time to do it. And Robert didn't even remember. Like he kind of knew about Pump It Up, but not really.
Right.
So I didn't really get to even really talk about.
Do you
that.
feel like artists, to a certain extent, once they get to a high level, they look down on the hip hop platforms?
Yes.
For interviewing
Yes.
What I mean in terms of artists in general?
artists, producers, like
Yeah, I mean, listen, we were supposed to get a Babyface interview that got sabotaged by someone at the label. Last minute. That was annoying.
I'm still waiting for Just Blaze interview.
That was annoying.
And then I saw him on some other platform. And it was like,
No, I still think he's down.
okay.
I still think
Just as cool dude, man.
Cool dude.
If you ever talk to him, I think you guys have a good conversation. But do they look down? I don't know. I mean, listen, Robert Cool Bell was happy that his stuff was getting. Cool and the Gang is one of the most sampled groups of all time. Like it's up there with like James Brown and shit like that. There's this one drum break that was used in like 500 records. Or like Pump Up the Volume, like that drum break, that was used fucking everywhere. You know what I mean? Just like, as well as like Jungle Boogie, or like Summertime was sampled from from Summer Madness.
Right,
Cool and the Gang.
right.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So I mean, it's always dope to really talk to these OG. I've interviewed what's his name, the head of Parliament,
George Clinton?
George Clinton. Yeah,
George Clinton.
yeah. I've done it. I've interviewed Cat Williams. I've interviewed.
Have you ever interviewed African Mbata?
I did. And I asked him the gay question. Way
What?
before the allegations.
What happened?
I got a very uncomfortable answer. got a very uncomfortable answer, which now in retrospect makes a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying?
What was the answer?
I was like, I was saying how, you know, I think it was like Lord Jamar was about like, had some criticism about homosexuality and hip hop and stuff like that. So I wanted to get his take on that. And he was sort of like, he didn't really answer the question. He sort of danced around the question a little bit. But I didn't know he was gay, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, according to the Hassan Campbells of the world, he is. You know, so I didn't know. So, but I got a very sort of weird, uncomfortable answer. But yeah, I've interviewed Bambaataa, I've interviewed Melly Mel, Grandmaster Caz, Curtis Blow. You know, I mean, like I've you know, it's funny how people.
15 years of the game.
Yeah,
like,
people throw around. Oh, all Vlad does is gangsters. Like, nah, like I have most of the legends.
That just means you didn't watch when I did this other
You just
shit.
didn't watch
Right.
when I did this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like Teddy Riley almost single-handedly invented the hip hop sound. You know what I'm saying? Like the show, that's Teddy Riley,
Yeah.
right?
Facts.
That's a fact.
I guess that could be argued.
Yeah.
It could be
Yeah.
argued.
Well, yeah, you could argue it, but I'm saying like one of the most prolific early, the guys who, you know, all the Cool Mo D records and everything else like that's
Yeah, for sure. I'm saying
that's Teddy Riley.
There's
You
an
know, he's
argument.
more known for the R&B shit, but his early career was like those hip hop records.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know.
And he was a prodigy. The fact that he
Rum
produced the
Shaker.
show at that age, when he was like still in high school.
He was still in
did
high
the
school.
show.
And then
Exactly.
he was influencing other producers on the way up.
Yeah, Pharrell worked for him.
Bink
Sure
too.
did.
Yep.
Yeah, Pharrell was under him.
Timbaland.
Bink.
Darkchild was sort of under him at one point.
Darkchild was in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He tried to sign Darkchild. Well, the story differs. Darkchild said claims he tried to sign him. Teddy Riley said he never tried to sign him, so you know. The story is the story.
Yeah.
But they definitely worked together, and Teddy was definitely a huge force. Like, you know, when he moved down to Virginia, I mean, like the Timberland,
we've heard about it, yeah,
Jodeci,
the
Missy
Missy,
Elliott, like that's all part of the Teddy Riley,
Riley, right.
family
Umbrella,
tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had
So,
he signed everybody that he worked with, we'd be looking at him way different.
right.
Had they all been signed to like
Yeah.
Future Records or Teddy Riley Enterprises or something?
Yeah,
When
it
he
would've
birthed out of Virginia, what he was there for in Virginia, and all those people who came under his umbrella.
Yeah, it was a lot of
Never
talent.
stopped.
A lot of
Timbaland,
talent.
Missy, Sister, Genuine, Aaliyah.
Yeah. All
off in
that.
off in that direction.
All that.
Then all the producers who dropped and all the shit that they put their hands on under his umbrella from
Yeah.
his studio. If he had been producing,
Yeah,
if he had been signing those people,
I mean, think about it.
been
So
crazy.
you got to include everyone in the Pharrell family tree.
yeah, I didn't even get Nerd,
The Clips,
Khalees, the Clips.
Khalees, yeah,
All that.
Pusha
All the-
T, of course, like you know, part of the
His solo
Clips. Like
career,
it's all part of that whole.
It all stems from.
It
all
all
I wanna
stems.
do is I'ma zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. Just shake your rump.
Yeah, Pharrell wrote that. Pharrell wrote
And
that.
danced in the
Yeah,
video.
that's a fact.
But
yeah.
didn't Billy Owens
Yeah,
have
the
something to do
video,
with that too?
I don't know.
Who?
Silly Billy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. We'll talk about it off camera.
Yeah.
Who was the first guy to actually lay down on the Vlad couch?
I believe it was you. I got it. Let me stretch out. Pay you back.
You know, I started this show like 3 years ago. And it's never been a time that I reached out to you that you weren't helpful,
Yeah.
that you weren't offering me advice, congratulating me.
Yeah. Even before you started the show.
That's a fact.
Yep.
Do you remember years and years ago, you introduced me to his good friend, Busta Rhymes, who hasn't been on the show yet. And you said, this guy's gonna be the biggest thing to come out of battle rap.
I think so, yeah. I think so.
You were correct.
Well, I've always felt that you're going to be bigger than battle rap. Because battle rap, as someone who was involved in interviewing the artists and even throwing a battle rap show one time, the Killers Battle League,
Yeah.
I always felt like, unfortunately, battle rap just has this ceiling that's never been able to be broken. It's always been an underground art form that's never been able to get past a certain point, even when an Eminem is involved in it, or the biggest names, or even when MTV gets involved in it. It's always has that kind of element that's going to keep it from going past a certain point. Unfortunately.
In America. Yeah.
I don't know what it's like overseas.
Yeah.
In
Russia,
America,
Russia is turned up.
Russia's crazy? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, that's because I remember when I interviewed Oxymoron, he explained to me that in Russia, all the biggest rappers all battle.
Yeah.
It'd be like...
It's the same thing
it'd
in
be
the
like,
Philippines.
He compared, like, let's just say in America, you have Drake and Kendrick, but they're battling a couple times a month as well.
Right.
Imagine how crazy that would be.
Right.
But in Russia, it's really like that.
Yeah.
And that's why. You know what I mean? But back to my point, I always felt like... Sorry. Sorry. And I always felt like, once I figured that out, and I started to sort of move away from doing battle rap interviews, partly because one of the guys that worked for us ended up leaving, and he was sort of the expert on that.
Right.
I was like, there's going to be certain people like you that are gonna, if they want to progress, if they want to raise their career, they're gonna have to look beyond battle rap. Battle rap is gonna have to be a stepping stone, just like mixtapes were a stepping stone for me. Battle rap is gonna have to be a stepping stone for other people if they want to grow. And as they get older and so forth, unless they just want to do that one battle every so often and try to get as big of a check, but that's not viable as you start to get older.
Right.
So, and I felt like you were one of those people, and I kept telling you that, and I would tell other people that, and
Here we are.
clearly I was right. You know what I mean?
Manifest.
Clearly I was right. And I've always, and you could talk to so many people that in the same way that I approach you, I've approached pretty much everyone in the media space, from academics, Charlemagne, Adam 22, Sean Cotton, like all these dudes who, even Natasha, like I said, I had to reach out to Tasha K to congratulate her until she started to shit on me later. I've always felt like there's going to be more generations of people coming up, and as someone who was there from the beginning of internet interviewing, I want to link up with those people, and I want to help what they're doing and also learn from them, and then all of us could work together and share resources, and we could all come up together, because you and I have done some of the same interviews. Mm-hmm. We don't step on each other's toes when that happens.
Right.
Your interview's your interview, my interview's my interview. There's no reason for a Vlad and Joe Budden to be beefing the way we do, because Vlad will do better working with Joe Budden than against Joe Budden, and vice versa, whether he wants to admit it or not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I get these animosity things, to me is just bad business to me. And most of the people who beef with me don't actually have businesses. They're just personalities who just do shit on their own.
Right.
I run a business. I have 20 employees. So to me, I'm looking at things differently. So I try to always, you know what I mean? And honestly, it's like, you want to be able to have your peers congratulate you, and you want to have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to have your accomplishments be seen by people that you respect, who understand what it is that you're doing, because a lot of times the industry is not going to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, every hip hop awards, whatever, Vlad TV never gets nominated for nothing. You know what I'm saying? But, I'll get a call from academics telling me how dope some interview was, and he'll actually play the interview on his stream and comment on it, like he just did that with Hurricane Chris the other day.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, we have to, we have to work with each other, congratulate each other, and help push each other up, and share resources, and share game, and so forth, because competing with each other doesn't do shit. Yes, we might go viral for a second. If I call Joe Budden a bitch, yeah, it'll go public viral for like a day.
If you call him what?
A bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Joe's a what?
If he says something about me, it'll go viral, and it's whatever, but it's like, none of us gain from that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
None of us
saw any type of exponential growth.
There's no exponential growth from that, and it ends right then and there.
I think that for some people, they find a way to market themselves as being anti something that's already popular.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? I think that's what happens. But
Yeah, that's cool.
hopefully we can get this media Illuminati thing together. Just just dominate
the Illuminati.
Just dominate. You know what I mean? Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at, it goes down. When you look at that 25 list, it goes down to the girl that's at 25, Jussie, the little girl.
Yeah.
Like
Shout
I
out to
remember I DM'd her and said, hey, tell your parents that if you guys, congratulations on success, and tell your parents that they ever want to call me, I'll be supportive.
Right.
And then her dad called me and we spoke and everything else like that, down to the little kids.
Yeah.
Like I really try to, like most of the people on the list, except for maybe one or two, I have some sort of relationship with. Usually it's a good relationship. You know what I mean? Joe, I think, is the only person on the list who I don't get along with. Like everyone else on the list, I'm either cool with or I just haven't met them yet. Right. You know what I mean? And that's how we're all really gonna win. Not by constantly trying to tear each other down, because
it's whack. I try to tell people
and those situations could escalate into something that no one wants.
Facts.
Because nobody's like at this level. There really are no punks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You may think that person's a punk. You may think you could physically take that person, but that person got someone with them who might have a gun, who probably has a gun. And they're there to protect that person. You know what I mean? And you might walk into something that you're not ready for. You know what I mean? So it's at the end of the day, why create that energy and create that animosity and everything else like that? Because no one's ready to deal with that in reality.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if me and you were beefing, I wouldn't want that beef to escalate, because I know what you're capable of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you have an idea of what I'm capable of.
Right.
And neither one of us are punks. You know what I mean? Now in a one-on-one fight,
That's different.
but that's not going to happen.
Right.
It doesn't happen at this level.
That never happens.
Never happens.
There will not be. You will not get into a one-on-one
Yeah,
fight with Vlad.
T.I. and Low Flip was the end of all that.
Right. Yeah, but even that involved a lot of other people.
Right.
And it involved some gunplay, from what I understand, and anything else like that. So it's just like why even do that when there's no real animosity to the point, or unless no one's put in that whole list of people, in that 25 list, no one's put hands on each other. Not a single person. Right? Not a single person has physically touched another person, but yet some people are beefing with each other.
Makes
So
sense.
no one's celebrated their dead homies. I've never smoked a Joe Budden cousin pack or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? I've never said no weird shit like that. Someone close to him died, I'm going to celebrate. I don't do that weird shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's nothing that was done or said that has gone over the line. No, none of us have talked about each other's, significant others or no one else's kids or whatever else. It's just a little
Vlad,
petty shit.
Let's just be honest. That whole situation is over the ransom shit. The way he feels like that because of the ransom shit, and there's a whole three-way story going that way, and the receipts that have been produced are not favorable for a friendship. You dig what I'm saying? And that's what that is. It
doesn't have to be animosity.
It doesn't have to be.
It can be left alone.
However, to save face, someone has to be upset.
What's the rule?
The story is different. You dig what I'm saying?
If nobody violated somebody's kids, violated somebody's wife, sent somebody to jail, or took somebody's life, you can figure it out.
Well, somebody went to jail.
Even if figuring it out means leaving the whole thing alone and walking the other way.
Exactly.
You can't tell people who to agree with, who not to agree with.
No, I'm just spitting out my rules.
Right.
That's just how
That's your rules, and I get it. Like no one needs a friendship to happen, or no one needs, but you know what I mean. But
but we don't have to beef.
But beef starts one way and it gets responded to, and it continues.
Why make it continue?
Huh?
Why make it continue?
Yeah, I don't know.
So stop.
Yeah, like I said, I don't start the shit.
No, we're just gonna stop. We're just gonna stop.
We just gonna stop.
Just gonna stop. That's how we're gonna end it.
Okay, we're
Why
gonna stop.
We're gonna stop.
We're stopping. We're stopping. Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop. Stop.
No, we talking to you. Stop your bullshit. We talking to you.
That's it right there.
It's hot for trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rappers. Got bars I can hang with the backpackers. Trap star, I don't hang with the backpackers. I'm in the hood with the work you heard. Making fiends leave earth you heard. Got your baby mama thirst you heard. Feel the flow, nigga, throw it in reverse. This the wave you need to surf you heard.